How to manipulate women. Now look, fellas, it's only 3 steps that I'm ready to give y'all right now. So I'm gonna need you to lock in real quick. Starting with number 1, fake your personality. It sounds crazy, but it is what it is. I'm not even gonna lie to you. All you gotta do, right, is just ask her what's her type. Ask her what her ex was like. Because 9 times out of 10, right, she stayed with him. Think about that for a second, right? If he was shooting from the 3 and his success rate was 98%, right, would you change your jumper or would you keep it the same? Keep it the same, fellas. Do not be trying to change it up at all. 2, make plans with her. Now, when you make plans with her, I ain't talking about just doing the old ordinary thing, right? When you hang out with her, only hang out with her for a short amount of time, right? I'm talking about you with her for a smooth 30 minutes, kicking it, good vibes, and then boom, you get a call and say, it's business, you gotta go handle it, right? So now she gonna get this idea that you this busy man and that your time is valuable. So at that point, you can't waste no time. Don't be one of them guys that just stay OD long though, nah. Let her enjoy the moment. So then the next moment, she's gonna cherish it more. 3, always claim perfection. There's no room for errors, I'm telling you, fellas. Always be viewed as that husband type of guy, right? Even if you're not. And look. Never compliment her too much. You're gonna be just like every other guy that's blowing up her phone. We is not that, I'm telling you that now. Keep it at a bare minimum, right? If your boss always congratulated you on when you worked, you wouldn't be working as hard. You're gonna take it for granted. This game right here, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like this video and follow me for more advice.
Hi, I'm Melanie. Welcome back. And in this video, we're talking about men who manipulate women.
I'm about to tell you how to make her very obsessed. This is very toxic, man. This is some dark matter stuff, but do not do this to everybody. Don't do this to them eaters, bro. This is high levels of manipulation, so be very careful what you do with this. Number 1, you need to treat her just like her father. I've said this before, but let's go into depth. Open up every door for her. Don't ever let her pick up a bill. And you need to be someone that she can rely on. That's going to be a key factor in what happens next. Her best friend, the one that she can talk to with everything, you need to replace that. You need to be that type of beacon that she can just rely on. She's going to vent to you about everything because no one understands her like you. Second thing I want you to do after this is leave. Leave everything. No reason, just dip. So when she goes to open up that door again, she'll think about you. She got to pay for her own meals again? Oh my God. When she actually has to use her credit? Oh my God. Then when she actually breaks down and goes to vent, her best friend's not going to do the job no more. She's going to come to you. I know we're not talking anymore, but can we please talk about this? I'm working. I'm telling you, bro, this is just so toxic, man. Oh, man, I hate to explain this. Number 3, the last and final thing, you never compliment her. You never compliment her face or her body. No. If she ever were to say, do I look good? It's cool. I like that color, though. I like those earrings. I'm talking about all these tangible things. Oh, my God.
I wish that people, that's both men and women, would just stop playing games with each other. That's why dating is so hard these days, because people are either playing games or they're overly cautious because they think the other person is playing games. To be clear, I think both men and women play games in relationships and try to manipulate people into getting their way and getting what they want out of a particular situation.
The period tracking method might be the best manipulation tactic out there. Fellas, have you ever been talking to a girl or in a relationship and you weren't sure how to go about manipulating them? Then this method is for you. What you are going to do is download a period tracking app. Now the only information you need is when her period starts. If she's comfortable with you, she'll probably just give that information away. Once you know when her period starts, you're going to put that into the tracking app, give or take a day, and you will know everything you need to know. In the first 7 days of her menstrual cycle, you're going to buy her chocolate, you're going to get her favorite drink from Starbucks or Dutch Bros, and you're going to get her tampons. Days 8 to 14 to 16, she's going to regain some of her energy. She's going to want to hang out, but she may not be in the mood yet, if you know what I mean. And then comes the ovulation period. That lasts about 5 days. On day 1 of her ovulation, you are not going to give in. This will drive her feral, I promise you. By the 2nd day, she will be all over you. After ovulation, her energy is going to drop again, and you're going to fill her text up with compliments constantly. You will be the talk of her group chat, I promise. And as always, game is game.
How to manipulate a healed individual, aka unhealing them. Now, there are 3 main methods you can use to do this, but the method I'm here to talk to you about today is the masquerading as a healed person method. Now, this method is very reliable if you're good at it. Reason being is that these people think they're above being manipulated. They think they can sense manipulation from a mile away and it just won't ever happen to them because they won't let it. They're very conceited in that way. They're very conceited in general, but the difference between their conceit and our conceit is they do not think that they're conceited. So what that means for us is we should not try to gaslight them early on because that will not have a high success rate. But what we can do is some precise love bombing, personality mirroring, etc. Now, what do I mean by precise love bombing? I mean, do not overdo it because these people think they know everything. So if they get even a hint that they think that you're love bombing them, they will dip. They will be on the way. So don't say things like, oh my gosh, you're my favorite person right now. Say things like, yo, my feelings are kind of accelerating a bit faster than I expected them to, but I really don't want to rush things between us. And I don't know how things are on your end, but I just thought I'd communicate this with you. So I don't know if you want to take a step back, yada, yada, yada. I like to call this anti-love bombing, and that's when you don't make the focal point of your compliment the compliment itself. What's the focal point is the communication, the emotional maturity, the dynamic between you two in general, and also you're giving them a way out. However, them in their mind, the compliment is so strong, it will still sit with them and they will still be completely flattered by it. Now, they will respond to this in one of 3 ways. It's either going to be, oh my gosh, the feeling's mutual, or it's going to be, you know, I really don't think that's a problem at all, blah, blah, blah. Or much, much less likely, it's going to be, you know what, I think you're right, we should take a step back. However, if this happens to you, do not fear. You're still on the right road. It's just a little bit slower than the other 2 ways would be. What people don't understand about quality manipulation is that it's not always just feeding people delusions. A big part of it is feeding into the delusions people already have, so eventually you can flip them around. Step 2, personality mirroring. Again, be careful. Do not be too obvious. Disagree with them about little things that don't really matter, but when you can tell they're passionate about something, agree with them and always take it a step further to give them the impression that it's an original thought that you're having. For instance, if they're talking about any group of people who have a thought process that they don't like, what you need to do is you need to call those people insecure. Because people who are healed love calling people insecure because it implies that since they don't think like those people, that they must be secure, right? They will eat it up and they will love that you said that. Step 3, exploit their insecurities. And not in the way that you may think. What you need to do is you need to find their insecurities and convince them that those insecurities are some of your favorite things about them. Be like, what? You don't like that about yourself? That's crazy. I find that very, very compelling. But again, do not overdo it. When you compliment their insecurities, you become the one giving them an inflated self-image.
I think that this is one of the most evil things that I've ever heard come out of any man's mouth.
You become the one making them feel like the way that they subconsciously have been trying to get themselves to feel like this entire time. You will make them feel better than they've ever been because you're taking their delusions, embracing them, and subtly twisting them into your own. And eventually you'll just have them in the palm of your hands because that's manipulation tactics to use on a healed individual. Now, this is method 2, the being fixable method. Now, where a lot of people go wrong on this is they think that you can simply just be scum and things are going to work out for you. Well, that is part of it. There is much more nuance to it. Like if you're just simply scum, some of these people aren't going to want to deal with you. The key part is to know what flaws are deal breakers and what flaws aren't deal breakers. Examples, if you talk about not being loyal, that's probably going to be a deal breaker. But if you talk about struggling with communication, it probably won't be. But the real key part with these flaws is to mention that you have them, but never actually show that you have them. What do I mean by this? I mean, you can say something like, yo, full disclosure, you know, I'm not the best at communication. However, when a situation arises where you have to communicate your ass off. But while you're communicating, say, you know I'm not the best at communication, but I am trying. I hope, you know, I'm doing okay right now. And you can always swing this into some pretty natural sounding love bombing. Like me, for instance, I'm a bad texter. So whenever I do this, I'll be like, yo, I'm a horrible texter. And the response is always, well, you're texting me just fine. And I'm like, you know, it's different though. And they're like, how's it different? I'm like, I don't know. Like, gosh. And I just brush it off, right? So in their mind, they're like, oh my gosh, Bryce likes me a lot, but he's trying not to show it. But in my mind, they're playing right into my hands. What this whole fake telling on yourself thing does is consciously they think they're better than you, which we need because we need to feed into their ego in this instance. But subconsciously, they know they've never seen you be anything less than spectacular. But speaking of this, we need to feed into their egos more. So what you can do is start love bombing them in ways that aren't exclusively romantic. When they eventually share some bullshit philosophy that they pretend to have, like, oh, when someone does me dirty, I don't even get mad because that has everything to do with them and nothing to do with me, and I value myself, blah, blah, blah. Pretend like that's the most profound shit you've ever heard and not something that they just make up to make themselves feel better. Like, act super impressed, and when they keep blabbering on about it, like, oh, my ex, blah, 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 what you need to do is be like, oh my gosh, can I just tell you, like, the growth you must have had, I find so astounding, because you know I struggle with trying to get that sort of view, so I can't even imagine the journey you must have went on to come across it yourself, and I really just want to say I really admire that. This obviously gasses them up, so you eventually become the guy or gal that makes them feel larger than life, and that's always what you want to do with these healed people. Also, do not be afraid to confide in these people a little bit. Be like, you know what, I have anxiety, and they'll probably say some bullshit to you like, have you tried meditating? You should be like, no, not really. Does it really work like that? And they're always going to be like, yes, oh my gosh, you have to try it, blah, blah, blah. Now,
manipulation tactics such as the emotional roller coaster, such as love bombings, making empty promises, pretending to be disinterested, ignoring you, or playing mind games should be called out by women. If you notice that the man that you're dealing with is doing any of these things, you first need to have a conversation with yourself about it, and then you need to think about what's the best thing for you to do with your life. Date with intention and do not compromise on your morals, your values, and your deal breakers. The moment that you realize that this man is taking advantage of you or leading you on, or he has you on an emotional roller coaster, or he ghosts you and then comes back with some lame excuse, love bombing, or any other manipulation tactic, cut that man off and do not look back. You might not be able to avoid people who try to manipulate you, but you can choose to cut people off and keep your peace. Have you ever fallen victim to a manipulative man? Share your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.